Hey guys, it is Admin. Welcome back to another update for the Swords Datapack. This is update 1.3, and it adds 5 new swords. It has also been updated to work with Minecraft 1.16. Currently the snapshots had broken it, so I made sure that it would work. So let's get started. As always, to craft the swords, you will need a custom crafter. So place down a dropper, throw a crafting table on top, and you get a custom crafter. The 5 new swords that were added are the paper sword, the ice sword, the TNT sword, the sponge sword, and the shulker sword. Let's get started with the paper sword. It can be crafted with 2 paper and a stick. The paper sword causes a small amount of bleeding to mobs that are hit by it. It has a base damage of 0, so the sword itself doesn't deal much damage, but it can be swung very quickly. It isn't particularly powerful, but it's made out of paper, and so it really shouldn't be that powerful. If we show that again, you can see when I hit the cow a couple times in a row, the bleeding will be worse. And so it can kill it. And real quick, I wanted to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. They have been really awesome in helping me come up with ideas and providing feedback. As a reward for anyone who supports me over on Patreon of more than $1 a month, you get early access to all of the data packs. For example, this pack has been out for 11 days. If you do want to support me on Patreon, you can click the link up in the top right. Your support really helps me out. But anyway, let's get on to the next sword. Next we have the ice sword. The ice sword is crafted with 2 pieces of blue ice and a stick. This gives you a sword that deals 3 attack damage, but can freeze foes in place for 2.5 seconds. So if we try it out on a cow, you can see it gets frozen, and then unfrozen. This is quite useful against hostile mobs, especially speedy ones, as they will have a very difficult time getting to you. The sword itself doesn't deal much damage, so when you freeze a mob in place, you can't exactly kill it with the sword, but it does keep it from hurting you. And the fact that there are 2 blue ice in the recipe makes it somewhat expensive, and it only has 60 durability, the same as a wooden sword. Moving right along, we have the TNT Sword. The TNT Sword is crafted with 2 TNT and a stick. Now, I realized that it causing TNT explosions would be far too powerful for a sword with 60 durability, so instead it does small creeper explosion. This causes a small amount of world damage, it can hurt you, and can also cause a decent amount of damage to your foes. The sword itself only deals 1 damage, and so it is not too powerful, it's mostly the explosion. If we try this out on a husk, you'll see a husk should survive it, and so we're doing less than 20 damage through the whole thing. Overall, I feel this is fairly balanced because it only has 32 durability, and it can cause world damage, which is generally going to be a bad thing. So while it deals high damage, it can also recoil onto yourself, so if the mob's too close, I'll take a bit of damage. So overall, I like this sword a fair amount. The texture was actually made by Lil Zoe. A link to her channel is in the top right. Next, let's take a look at the sponge sword. It is an interesting idea, not particularly useful, but I think maybe some of you might be able to find a use for it. It is crafted as you would expect, 2 sponges and a stick. The sponge sword is a floppy noodle of a weapon, so it only deals 2 damage. Not particularly useful as an actual sword. However, whenever you attack a mob, water in the area will be drained. It's a fairly large radius too, and so you, I guess, could probably use this to drain areas of your base. At least I think there's decent potential to use it to like clear out like a small lake or something. And overall, I think it could be a very unique challenge to use as like a tool, or maybe you intentionally lead like a cow over to the water you're trying to drain, and then you smack him with the sword, and it drains a bit, and then you smack him again. And overall, I think it could just be like a quite interesting, unique way to drain water. So I view this one more as a tool than a weapon, but It's kind of a mix between both, and it's very out there as an idea, so I think it fits in nicely. This is a good time to mention, if you haven't seen our other 3 showcase videos for the different swords in the pack, there are quite a few useful ones, as well as a multitude of quite funny ones, so go check those out if you haven't already. A link to them will be in the description of this video. That would be down below, so head down to the description and check out those videos. I think I've also made a playlist. You can go watch that. Click the iCard in the top right to do so. So onto our final sword, that is the shulker sword. It is crafted with 2 shulker boxes and a stick. Make sure when you do this that the shulker boxes are empty, or you will lose the contents of them. Also, the boxes must not be dyed. They have to be normal shulker boxes. So with that, we get a fairly powerful sword. It only does 4 damage, as it isn't meant for melee damage. However, any mobs hit by it have a nice little sparkle and receive levitation for a short time. This causes them to go high enough to take some fall damage, and so it ends up being a fairly powerful weapon. If we try this out on a husk, you will see, now that it's levitating, it can't hurt me, and I could even hit it again. So now when it falls, it should die, or just about. So overall, I really like this sword. I think it has fairly obvious use for actual combat purposes, where carrying one of these might actually be quite valuable. Probably not as like your main sword, but it would make like a nice secondary sword. So those were all the swords contained within update version 1.3. As always, if you have any suggestions for more swords we could add, feel free to leave them in the comments below, or join our Discord and put them in the suggestions channel. Also, we have 20 more swords coming your way, so make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future updates to this data pack. And that's all I have, so make sure to hit the like button, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Thanks for watching!